Now it's time to move to the third phrase type, which is the past participle phrase. A past participle phrase, unlike the previous two phrases, the infinitive phrase and the present participle phrase, can only be used as an adjective or as an adverb. Therefore, you will never see a past participle phrase used as a noun. When a past participle phrase follows a noun and modifies it, it functions as an adjective. See this example. Countries affected the most by recent extreme weather events are asking the global community to take immediate action to slow down and ultimately stop climate change. As you can see, affected the most by recent extreme weather events is a past participle phrase that shows which countries are calling for immediate action from the global community. Please note that no commas are needed around the past participle phrase in this example because the phrase is necessary to identify the countries. In other words, not all countries are calling for immediate action. It is only the countries that are most affected. However, sometimes past participle phrases can be unnecessary, which means they do not identify the noun, and the noun, even without the past participle phrase, is already identifiable. See this example. Japan, the Philippines, and Germany, affected the most by extreme weather events, are asking the global community to take immediate action to slow down and stop climate change. In this example, the same phrase, affected the most by extreme weather events, is surrounded by two commas. This is because the phrase is not necessary to identify the three countries. In other words, even without the phrase, we still know which countries are asking the global community to take action against climate change. Past participle phrases can also be used as adverbs. In this case, they modify the verb in the main clause. In most cases, when past participle phrases are used as an adverb, they show cause or reason. See this example. Given the high maternal mortality rate, the government is seeking to lift the ban on abortion. In this example, given the high maternal mortality rate is the reason why the government is seeking to lift the ban on abortion. Here is another example. Enraged by arbitrary dress codes that unfairly affect girls, many parents are asking the school board to scrap the gender-based dress code. In this sentence, enraged by arbitrary dress codes that unfairly affect girls is a phrase that shows why many parents are asking the school board to scrap the gender-based dress code. The final phrase we're going to discuss in this lesson is a prepositional phrase. As I said, a prepositional phrase starts with a preposition and can only function as an adjective or as an adverb, but never as a noun. But before I start prepositional phrases, I need to remind you that in order to use prepositional phrases effectively, you need to know many prepositions. Many candidates may find it surprising to know that words and phrases such as in spite of, in addition to, besides, despite, regarding are also prepositions. Since not many prepositional phrases are used in the adjective position, I will discuss it briefly. Cities by the sea are most at risk of becoming submerged as the earth gets warmer. In this example, by the sea is a prepositional phrase that modifies the word cities and shows which cities are most at risk. However, when it comes to prepositional phrases as adverbs, there's a whole slew of prepositions that can be used in the adverb position. In order to find out what each prepositional phrase in the adverb position actually means, you need to know what the preposition means. Now, let's see a few examples. In addition to freezing wages, the government has raised interest rates in order to tame inflation. In this example, the function of the phrase in addition to freezing is closely tied to the meaning of the preposition in addition to. In addition to is used to add another similar idea. Therefore, the phrase in addition to freezing wages is an adverb of addition and helps the writer add the first idea, which is freezing wages, to the second similar idea, which is raising interest rates. Here is another example. Despite freezing wages and raising interest rates, the government has not been successful at taming inflation. In this example, the function of the phrase despite freezing wages and raising interest rates is closely tied to the meaning of the preposition despite. Despite is used to show contrast between two ideas. Therefore, the phrase despite freezing wages and raising interest rates is an adverb of contrast and helps the writer contrast the idea of freezing wages and raising interest rates with the idea of not being successful at taming inflation. I have classified some of the most common prepositions into different categories, which you can find at the link below. A final note. Please remember, when using modifier phrases, you may make two common mistakes, namely dangling modifiers and misplaced modifiers, which I have fully explained in video lesson 3. This is the end of lesson 6, the final lesson on grammatical range and accuracy. In my next lesson, I will teach you the first lesson on coherence and cohesion, namely, the 2 rules of clarity in writing. In the meantime, make sure to subscribe to my channel for the most recent video lessons.